Descriptive research. This type of research is also called normative, survey research. It concerns itself with the present phenomena in terms of conditions, practices, beliefs, process, relationships or trends is variously termed as descriptive survey status, normative or trend study or survey. Descriptive research has the following characteristics. 1. It is concerned not with the characteristics of individuals but with characteristics of the whole population or a sample thereof. 2. It collects data from a relatively large number of subjects. 3. It provides information useful to the solution of local problems. 4. Its scope is very vast. 5. Surveys may be qualitative or quantitative. 6. Descriptions may be either verbal or expressed in mathematical terms. In solving a problem, one has to evaluate the present conditions and then seek information concerning what we may want and how to reach there. Normative A survey research may involve one of more of these elements in different situations. This type of research helps in locating existing problems, in securing historical perspective through a series of cross-sectional pictures of similar conditions at different times, in suggesting the course of future developments, in developing many tools, in contributing to the advancement of knowledge and in providing the background ideas and data from which many more studies may be conducted. Such studies are factual and hence supply practical information. These researches employ application of a scientific method by critically analyzing and examining the source materials, by analyzing, interpreting data, and by arriving at generalizations and predictions. Descriptive research is classified into the categories such as survey studies, case studies, developmental studies, follow-up studies, correlational studies, trend analysis, and documentary analysis. In the system of distance education, this type of research is quite useful as it helps in making surveys concerning aims, outcomes of instructional programs, survey concerning administrative problems of procedures. Moreover, institution appraisal, financial study, building survey, staff development training survey, and teacher training. Surveys can be conducted by this research method. However, in planning such surveys, the following stages are involved in the planning and the preparation of the final report. I. Statement of general objectives. 2. Statement of specific objectives. 3. Determination of the size and design of the sample. 4. Preparation and administering of a questionnaire. V. Determining and conducting interviews. 6. Making analysis plans. 7. Machine tabulation. 8. Analyzing. 9. Reporting. Experimental research. J.W. Best, 1992, p.110, describes experimental research as the description and analysis of what will be or what will occur under carefully controlled conditions. According to Carter v. Good and Douglas E. Skates, 1954, p.809, experimentation is the name given to the type of educational research in which the investigator controls the educative factors to which a child or group of children is subjected during the period of inquiry, and observes the resulting achievements. S. P. Sukhia, P. V. Mehrotra, and R. N. Mehrotra, 1991, p.227, describe the experimental method as the application and adaptation of the classical method of the science laboratory. It is most exacting and difficult of all methods and also the most important from the strictly scientific point of view. The essence of an experiment may be described as observing the effect on a dependent variable of the manipulation of an independent variable. However, the experimentation in education is useful to determine and evaluate the adequacy and effectiveness of educational aims and objectives through the measurement of outcomes. It serves as basis for the formulation, execution, and modification of educational policies and programs. It is further used to ascertain the effects of any change in the normal educational programs and practice. An experiment calls for the satisfaction of three basic interrelated conditions, i.e., control, randomization, and replication. 1. Control is the basic element in experimentation. The influence of extraneous factors that are not included in the hypothesis are prevented from operating and confusing the outcome which is to be appraised. 3 types of controls are exercised in an experiment. These include I. Physical controls. 2. Selective controls. 3. Statistical controls. 2. Randomization is a very difficult to exercise complete control. Efforts are made to assign cases in the experimental and control groups randomly. 3. Replication implies conducting a number of sub-experiments within the framework of an overall experimental design. Experimentation in education is not a perfectly precise method. There are many variables in education which are extremely difficult or even impossible to control. The basic condition of other things being equal is difficult for fulfillment in educational research. All experiments in education are ultimately experiments with children who for ethical reasons must not be subjected to conditions that may harm them. There are boundaries of a moral character for experimentation which must not be infringed. There are many areas in which experimental studies in education can approximate strictly empirical research. For example, the teaching of spelling through different methods, difference between the effect of the authoritarian and the democratic setup in education are problems which have been handled in a scientific way through the experimental approach. The following are the major steps in experimental research. 1. Planning the experiment. 2. Conducting the experiment. 3. Reporting the results. Furthermore, the experimental designs are classified as single design, parallel design, and rotational method. The details of all such designs are discussed below. 1. Single design. This type of experiment is carried in comparing the growth of a single individual or group under 2 sets of conditions. The experimenter observes the performance of the individual or the group before and after the introduction of the experimental variable. Let us say the experimenter is interested in evaluating the reading speed of a group of 6th class students as affected by training. He will adopt the steps like test the group, allow for a period of transition and test the group again. 2. Parallel or equivalent group design. In this 2 or more groups of subjects equivalent in all significant aspects are selected. One of these groups serves as the control group and the other as experimental group. 3. Rotation group experimentation. This method involves the rotation of instructional factors of the experimental and control groups point equal intervals. This method is used to obtain control of pupil factors when groups cannot be thoroughly equated. It also neutralizes the teacher variable. Of the 3 designs of educational experimentation, this is the most valid and at the same time most complicated.